What's up, guys? Today we're making pastitsio. Now you'll know this as a Greek casserole, oftentimes referred to as Greek lasagna. I'm very excited because I love this dish. Andres' yaya makes this for all of the special occasions, so today I'm gonna be making my own, so we'll see how it comes out. So the first thing we're gonna do for this pastitsio is to make the meat sauce. So we're gonna start off with onions and garlic. I've got this pot, the Dutch oven, hot already. We're gonna use some Greek olive oil, of course. We're gonna put plenty of olive oil in there because we've got a lot of ingredients going in. First thing that's going in is red onions. I chop these finely because I want them to essentially disappear into the meat sauce. I don't want them to be the star. The star here is the meat. Give it a little toss so that it can get coated in the olive oil. 3 cloves of garlic, minced. We want to let this sweat until it becomes translucent for maybe about 5 to 10 minutes. That purple of the red onion is becoming a little bit brighter, starts to blend in. It smells so good. These onions are going to bring out a nice sweetness to add to the meat sauce. This is 2 large red onions. It sounds like a lot because it is a lot, but it's also going to be 2 pounds of meat. That bright magenta pink, this is telling you that it's ready for the next step, which is adding in the meat. Okay, so I've got my 2 pounds of beef here. This is ground sirloin. Just throw it all in there. And now we want to brown it. So you want to break it up so that you don't get these large clumps. You want a very broken up mixture for this meat sauce. I'm using ground sirloin 90-10 because I don't want a lot of fat in this sauce. So typically, like if I was making burgers, I'd be doing ground chuck because I want that fat to keep the meat moist as it's sitting on the grill. But for this, I don't want a lot of oil or a lot of fat from the meat to be extracted into the casserole. Now we've got more browning. Beautiful. Look at that, it's even juicy at the bottom. These Dutch ovens are great for cooking meat, especially something lean like this ground sirloin because it doesn't allow it to dry out. It smells so good, that combination of the beef and the onions and the garlic, and we haven't even added the other spices yet. Now we're ready to add our wine. About 2 cups of Cabernet Sauvignon. Any red wine will do, really. That's what I had, so that's what I'm using. And if you have to go buy any at the store, go buy the cheapest red wine you can find on the shelf because it doesn't have to be expensive. This is wine for flavor, not for drinking. Okay, we're gonna let this come up to a simmer and reduce before we add any of our other ingredients. This wine will help tenderize the meat further before we go into the deep cooking process of adding the spices and the tomato and letting that cook for an hour. Take a look at this. The reduction that's happening in here right now. A sensory overload. This wine is about 3/4 of the way reduced. Means that the flavor is being pulled into the beef and the extra water content has evaporated out. That's what we want. I'm ready to add the rest of the ingredients. I'm tired of waiting. These are crushed tomatoes. There is a difference between tomato passata, tomato sauce, whole peeled tomatoes. These are crushed tomatoes. You want them already in that crushed state, but they have a slight chunkiness to them. I absolutely love that. I feel like it adds a rusticness to any dish you put it in, even if you're making a pizza. For pizza sauce, honey, use the crushed tomatoes. Now it's time to add the spices. 2 cubes of beef bouillon. That's gonna add more flavor, more umami, more of that beef taste. 1/8 teaspoon of crushed clove and sugar. Just a little bit of white sugar. It's about 1/2 teaspoon. I'm gonna add some salt, my favorite Celtic sea salt. It's so fine, it dissolves so beautifully and adds such a great taste. And then we're going in for some cracked black pepper. This is the final stage before we let it cook for an hour. This is gonna cook slowly the flavors are gonna meld together. Some bay leaf for depth of flavor, and a cinnamon stick. Just put the whole cinnamon stick in there. We're gonna let that simmer for about an hour. In the meantime, we're gonna prepare our bechamel, and we're also gonna prepare our noodles, our bucatini noodles. The meat sauce is gently cooking inside right now, and I'm about to make the bechamel and show you guys one of my most favorite cooking techniques. We're gonna wanna start by melting butter. I've got myself a stainless steel pan, fairly shallow. You don't need a big deep pot. And we wanna let this melt. I've got 7 tablespoons plus 1 of butter. We're making a Greek dish here. You can't be afraid of fat, you can't be afraid of butter. So Yaya would be proud. What we're making here is a roux. It's the combination of butter and flour cooked together to make a thick paste, and that's gonna be our thickening agent for the bechamel sauce. And you wanna go little by little because you want this flour to completely dissolve inside of the melted butter. If you put too much flour at once, it's gonna become clumpy, and it's gonna be really hard to get those lumps out. Here we go, little by little. You start to see that this begins to thicken. And you want to use a whisk because you want to be able to break up those flour lumps as soon as they hit the butter. I'm using a 3/4 cup of flour, all-purpose flour. And you see how we're starting to get this paste? And you have to work quite quickly here, guys. This is not something you sit on because if you don't work fast enough, the flour will clump and or the butter will start to burn. Beautiful, look at that. That blonde roux is what we have now. It's called a blonde roux because, as you can see, it's got a beautiful yellow color. And I want to stir this about 2 minutes or so. I have my heat on medium-high. And you want to stir this because you want to cook out that flavor of the flour before you start adding in the milk. Okay, I think we're in a good place with this, so I'm going to go ahead and start adding the milk. I'm using 1 quart of milk, or 4 cups, and we only want to add about a cup at a time. We don't want any clumps, so you have to slowly and gently emulsify these ingredients. Kind of looks like a very soft mashed potato now. But you got to keep adding that milk. There we go. Every time we add milk, we're thinning out this roux. Thinning it out a little more, a little more, a little more, until we have the perfect bechamel. Here we're adding some ground nutmeg. That's going to give a nice scented aroma to this bechamel sauce. It's going to complement the cinnamon that's in the meat sauce. I'm going to add some salt. Now we have a nice thickness here. If you bring a wooden spoon, you can check it by running your finger through it. And if that line holds, that means it's ready and you have yourself a bechamel. We want to go ahead and add our cheese. Kefalotiri is what you want to use. That is a Greek cheese, kind of similar to Parmesan cheese, but it's a little less salty. It's really thickening now. It was a little bit thick before, and then once you add the cheese, it gets even thicker. And so you want to just keep stirring, whisking until all of the cheese is completely melted in there. And the reason why you don't want to use a bagged cheese or a pre-grated parm is because sometimes those are coated in cornstarch or other preservatives that won't allow it to melt fully. So you want to have freshly grated cheese. That's of utmost importance. Okay, our bechamel is done. The texture is amazing. I'm going to pull it off the heat before we move on to our next step with this. We want to add 2 egg yolks. This is going to help the bechamel firm up and set in place. Our meat sauce has simmered for an hour. Let's remove the cinnamon stick and prepare the noodles. Bucatini are these hollow noodles. They work great for this dish. Cook till just under al dente. Ziti also works really well if you can't find Greek or Italian bucatini. Pour 2 egg whites and toss in fresh crumbled feta cheese. butter the bottom and sides of a large baking dish that's at least 2 3/4 deep and lay the pasta in one direction as best you can. This is going to be the base of our pastitsio. Look at this beautiful meat sauce. We're going to go right on top. And I want to spread this evenly all along the top of the pasta. This smells so good, you guys. You have that tomato scent. It's concentrated, cooked down, blended with that wine that we reduced the beef in earlier, the onions, and you can smell the scent of the cinnamon in there. It's time for the bechamel. Look at that. Oh my gosh. All right. Lay that on top. It is incredibly thick. Remember, we have that egg yolk in there, which is going to help it bind together also while it's baking. And I want to pour on enough before I smooth it out because I don't want it to get mixed in with the beef. The last of our bechamel, I'm going to go in this corner right here. Looks like it needs a little bit more. Perfect. To finish off before it goes in the oven, one more sprinkle of Parmesan cheese or kefalotiri, if you can find it. Our pastitsio is assembled. All we need now is to bake it for 30 minutes at 350. We're gonna let all of this become one beautiful casserole. We're gonna let the top brown nicely with that extra cheese that we put on top, and then we'll be ready to eat. All right, guys, our pastitsio is finally finished. Look at this gorgeous casserole. The color on there is just absolutely stunning. You have so much beautiful golden brown. That bechamel is nice and soft in there, but you have a gorgeous crust. Okay, we've waited long enough. I've let it rest for 15 minutes. And you can always let this sit longer. So if you're doing this for a party or an event, feel free to let it sit for, an hour or whatever. Oh my gosh, look how creamy that is. Did I mention I've never made this before? Here goes nothing. Whoa! Oh my goodness. Yes! Look at that. Creamy, meaty, noodly, everything all in one and crunchy on top. Wow. If you want this to set a little longer, almost let it set overnight even. You can make this a day ahead and then you can just reheat it the next day and you can get a much firmer product. Oh my gosh, look at this. The meat is not too watery, doesn't have much liquid, so it's holding itself. Then you have this super creamy bechamel and that crust on top with the bucatini noodles. That is not just any meat sauce. It's layered with the cloves, the cinnamon, has a little bit of complexity to it. It complements the bechamel so well. The noodles are soft. Remember to cook those al dente, just under, so that when they bake, they cook perfectly. Oh, this is just like the perfect casserole. This is the Greek pastitsio. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a like, subscribe for more food videos, and be sure to check out my Crete food tour series where we delve into so many Greek classics. Thank you guys for joining me today, and I'll see you on the next one. Kali orexi.